Hello, everybody, and welcome Paranormal Nation Radio. Not so normal. How's Denise and Ron doing this evening?
Doing good.
Very tired.
Very
Besides starting a new job
Hey, Nigel.
yesterday and babysitting the grandchildren so that the kids could go on out for their anniversary. That was fun. And we've been dog sitting since last week because Lauren went to Kansas City.
Oh, that's right. She is in Kansas City.
No,
She?
she's back here
Just
already.
got back today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she left Wednesday and she's back today. And she brought us cider mill donuts from Lewisburg, and considering that's where we used to live, it was nice.
Right.
She also brought us some Kansas City Joe's barbecue sauce and some Gates and Sons. So we can at least feel like we're in Kansas
Right.
or Kansas City anyway.
Right.
So,
Well, whenever you guys need that stuff, you let me know because I can get it up here anywhere and send it
it's
to
the
you.
shipping that's ridiculous.
I know it is, but it's easier to get up here than it is down there.
It just means that I just need to go to St. Louis or something.
Oh,
Yeah.
we could have you when we go to the Ashmore. We could have you bring some.
Yeah.
Yep.
When we go
I
to
can do
Ashmore,
that.
I'll send you a shopping list that you can bring.
I will.
So, but yeah, we just did that. We just sent a shopping list and she surprised us with Lewisburg cider mill donuts. And so got to have one before the show.
Well,
So,
good.
but
So,
other,
yeah,
other than that,
it's been pretty nice up here weather-wise. Now, we do have a cool front moving in a little bit. It was 58 for a high, where before it was 70s and everything. And then we got rain cooling down Thursday and Friday up here, and then back up in the 70s. So, everything's doing pretty good. Hello, Jonathan.
yeah, we're having a shit ton of fun with the humidity. Which is probably why my hair looks like this.
Yeah, it's weird here. Back there when it rained, it always got cooler. It'd say it
Instantly.
cool things down,
Well,
but
it does
it'll warm up a lot
with
of times when it rains.
springtime and everything coming up and stuff. And Gallatin's getting ready for a bunch of tourists to start coming through.
Oh, yeah. It's that time of
Because
year.
March 11th, the McBee Dynasty comes out on Peacock.
What's that?
Okay, Stephen McBee, that was Joe Millionaire on the
Oh,
show
yeah.
Joe Millionaire.
Mhm.
They have now started a show called McBee Dynasty with the father and all four of his sons out here on all their properties across the United States. It's going to be a mixture. The guy who's producing the show and everything did the Kardashians. So it's a mixture of Kardashians, Yellowstone, and Joe Millionaire. Drama
was,
and BS crap, everything.
Mhm.
You watch the trailer on it. They show you things like this. They show you the Gallatin Water Tower up here where I live and everything out there to his big place he's got out here on 6th Highway.
Mhm.
And then you hear him say, yeah, and everybody in town don't like us. That's the truth. They don't.
Well, then I guess nobody has to worry about being on their show.
Right. But the trailer on it just shows you, what they are and
Okay.
everything. There are a bunch of, you can find it on YouTube, the trailer. Look up McBee Dynasty.
Oh, I probably won't.
But March the 11th is the debut of it on TV. So you're going to have a lot of.
You said tours. You mean just random people coming to check out the town because this is on TV?
Oh, yeah, they're going to come and check out where Stephen McBee lives. They did it during Joe Millionaire.
Okay.
The series that was running on Who's Joe Millionaire.
Okay.
No.
Stephen McBee did that because he's worth $10 million, they say.
Okay.
The family is, they're $50 million in debt right now with all their properties and cattle. Oh, we got to make money. So, you know how this is going to play out.
Yep. They spent it. Now they got to figure out how to make it.
Yep.
I can say that I will never, ever be in debt more than $40,000. I can say that.
Yeah.
Millions, never.
Well, if you've seen some of their cropland and the way they do crops, yeah, I know they're in debt like crazy. Their crops don't do worth crap. It's got to be a tax write-off for
Yeah.
something.
Well, who
Hi,
knows?
Gary.
Hey,
Hey there,
Gary, Jonathan, Tom,
So
Allison.
anyway, that all being said, you brought us a real good guest tonight.
Don't I always? When I don't, I'll tell you.
Gary's going to enjoy
I know. You always do. You're real good about that.
So tonight our guest is Robert Walczak from ghostgeartech.com. And we are going to talk equipment because I know Gary loves the paranormal equipment. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So you guys out there that got your Ghost Gear Tech questions, this is the guy to ask them to.
Yeah. Gary
Welcome,
probably
Robert.
have his list out.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, Rob.
Hello. How are y'all doing today? And I
Yes,
found
great.
out I
Great.
missed out on a donut. Any kind of donut.
Well,
Doing
you know,
great.
they're not that far from where you live. It's about 5 hours south on 69 highway. So 35 to 69 and you'll be there.
There you go.
If anybody ever mentions Lewisburg, Kansas to you, just say, do you live at the cider mill? Because that's everybody always asks us that. Do you live at the cider mill?
Yep.
All of us did. All 7,000 people
What
who lived in
everybody
the entire
thinks
county
of it.
lived at the cider
Right
mill.
there, huh?
So, but yeah, we lived there for almost 25 years.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
20. We moved there when Leah was little. Yeah, it was
2000.
whatever, 20 years. I can't count today. So
That's still a lot of years, so that's good.
it is,
20,
well, Lauren, how old's Leah?
23.
Is she?
No.
And hello to
She's 24.
Allison in the
23.
chat room.
Like,
and
we lived there
Jonathan and
23
Gary.
years. So we were both wrong. So, but how did you get started making ghost gear?
So I started making little music boxes that were capacitive touch, and they got real popular. And I'm a mechanical and electrical engineer by trade. I also have a master's in business. So I was looking to start a little company and a little business, a little side business for some side money. So I was making these little music boxes, and like I said, they got real popular, and I couldn't scale up, meaning I couldn't keep up with the demand, right? So I needed a different design because the little wooden music boxes I was getting from Hobby Lobby or wherever, and the electronics, I wasn't able to make them fast enough. So I went into a different design where I started using injection molded plastic enclosures and had circuit boards, designed circuit boards that would sit right inside of them, so I could, put them in, pop in a few screws, solder the battery terminals to them, and then I had a decent music box at that point, and I started selling those. And then I came up with this idea one night. I was sitting around because I am also a mechanical and electrical engineer, so thinking about all the different energies that are out there that are mostly what we would say mechanical, electrical type energies, not chemistry or chemical energies, but the mechanical and electrical energies. And then that's when I started doing some research into a lot of the Stargate type things that the government had worked on, and that other mediums and parapsychology and all of this. And I ultimately came up with the Epic box. This little fella right here. It's a yes/no box, but what makes it interesting is it's not a motion sensor. There's a lot of yes/no boxes out there that are just motion sensors. But what this one does differently is it takes in environmental input, runs it through an algorithm, and decides if that's a yes or a no. Now, I'm not saying I know what a ghost is thinking or doing when it says yes or no, But what I made is this box that's easy for them to manipulate so that they can force it to say yes or force it to say no. I still have my other music boxes. I've got the Piccolo here. This one is EMF. It's got a speaker for the music box. You can adjust the sensitivity. You can adjust the volume. On that one, EMF will set it off. That's a great one for putting, like in areas where people say they see spirits moving back and forth. I call it setting a trap, like you're hunting, right? You want to get in between the deer's food and their bedding, right? So you kind of do that when I ghost hunt anyway. So if they say they see a spirit moving between two doors or down a hallway, that's where I'll load up a lot of my equipment. And the cool thing with that one, since it plays music, is you can also use it as a trigger device in a way, and get them to start to interact with you as it plays music. But that's how I got started into it. It started off as just a little side business to make some weekend money, and then I got really serious into it. And I picked up 2 investors. So Ghost Gear has 2 investors. So there's 3 of us total. And they are responsible for like a lot of the marketing and social side of it. I'm just the nerd that invents the stuff and makes it, right? They handle all the business side of it. So I let them do that. They let me do this side, which I enjoy. So yeah, there's actually a total of 3 of us that run Ghost Gear. And we are looking to hopefully in the future. I mean, I've got other ideas for devices, right? But they cost money to create because, I'm not, Ghost Gear isn't like a Me Too company, right? I'm not going to start selling K2 meters and cat balls and all this other stuff. I only sell what I create, what I invent. That's what's sold on my website. So I do have some other ideas, and, it costs money for research and development. So, I'm looking to pick up some more investors along the way to invest in some really high-end ghost hunting equipment. The ideas that I've got, it's going to be rather expensive to do their R&D, but they will be awesome devices that are out there.
Awesome.
One of the things people don't realize is that all the R&D goes into the price of the final product.
That's right.
Until you make some of that back before the price can go down or before you break even. And that's one of the big things. I mean, being a business person, people sometimes don't understand that you're not doing this for free.
That's right. Yeah. I get a lot of people like, well, I can make my own for $10. I'm like, well, then go make your own for $10.
Right.
Go ahead.
But don't share your schematics. I wouldn't.
That's right.
No.
So do
I
you
do get
have a
that.
patent?
They're trademarked. The names are trademarked and the software is trademarked. The patents are just a little too expensive for me. I have had them run through patent lawyers, and they have all agreed that I could patent them. They are different enough to where they're patentable. I just don't have the funds to patent them just yet. Yeah.
What's that? How much does that cost? I have no idea.
The patent? Oh, to get it started,
patent.
just to get it started, you're looking around $12,000.
Oh,
and
wow.
then you've got the lawyer battles in the future, right? So
Yeah.
one lawyer will say you're encroaching upon my client's patent, and then they got to duke it out, and then you got to pay all this extra. I mean, you could easily spend $30,000 to $50,000 on a patent.
Yeah, I didn't know it was that expensive.
It's like fighting YouTube for them saying that you use their music, and you're going, it was my kid in the other room with the video game. It wasn't me. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, Carl fights that all the time.
I fight that every day on every show.
Do you
I
really?
fought
Probably
one
not
the other
mine.
day for music that somebody claimed in Afghanistan and the Philippines, and there was no music whatsoever in the video. I was like, "Oh, you guys, go listen to the video. There's nothing in it. Tell them they're fake. They can't claim anything."
Yeah, and anybody who comes after mine, they're stupid, because I don't play any music. We don't do anything like that. But if I say certain words, I know which words not to say.
You used to have.
Yeah, but I've even had to fight them
Intro.
where
Yeah, I did.
it was my opinion what I was saying, and they claimed it. And I said, "You can't claim my opinion."
Wow.
There's
Just
no
because
way.
you share one doesn't mean
God.
I mean, if that's true, then we might as well just shut YouTube down now because all the wheels have been invented, right? So there's no reason going forward.
Yeah, it's like
Everybody,
every
well, a lot of
cartoon
people
out
have
there.
gone off YouTube and gone to Rumble, where we're live at on Rumble. Rumble
Yep.
don't shut anybody down, and I've never had to fight anything on Rumble yet.
It's, I mean, they don't make anything unique anymore anyway, like music, TV,
No.
even the YouTube. People think that it's unique, but it's not, because if you go out there, if it was unique, it's been copied.
Right.
And like every single cartoon out there that my grandkids watch, they're just
Mhm.
remakes of the same songs that we sang as
Yeah.
kids.
Right.
It's ridiculous. So
Mhm.
so I get it. But we do have a question from Tom. He asks, can you take a personal music box and make it into a new one?
I'm guessing you're saying retrofit a existing music box. That could be done. That, depending on the music box, it might be a little more difficult. So I'm guessing this music box probably has like a tumbler, and you're talking about the little wheel that spins and it plays.
Most likely.
Yeah, those would be possible, but it could be a little difficult. And I say difficult to squeeze in all the electronics that you need to squeeze into the existing enclosure. It might not be big enough.
So
True.
when you said that your Epic box uses 5 different environmental factors,
Mhm.
I think that's what you said.
7,
Actually,
6.
6. Okay. So does that mean it takes like temperature, humidity? What all does it take?
I
You can
only
share.
give out 2 of them, and that is EMF and Tribal Electric. The other ones I keep to myself. They're kind of the secret herbs and
Right.
spices, you know.
So
And I
that's
Right.
get people,
proprietary information.
yeah, I do get people saying, "Well, I'm not going to use your stuff until I know exactly how it works." And I'm like, "Yeah, but you don't need to know Coca-Cola's secret formula to enjoy a Coke, right? You don't need to know my proprietary information to enjoy my devices. They work."
Yeah. The
Exactly.
only thing I need to, so is there software involved in
There
any
is,
of your
yep.
stuff?
All my devices have software. Their firmware is what we call it, embedded into the chip. So, if with and the software, especially like with the Piccolo, I had some upgrades to that. So I had some folks send me theirs back, and then I had to upgrade their Piccolo. And the reason for it was when it detected the EMF, it was alarming when the EMF fell and passed the threshold rather than when it was going up and past the threshold. So there was a delay there before it would trigger. So that was a software issue. So I had everyone send those back to me, and I updated the software on them.
So there's nothing built into it to make it go one way or another. Just
No.
the factors that it's taking into account make it go the way that it goes.
That's right. Yeah, right. It's not a AIoT or Internet of Things. It's not connected to the internet. It's not
Right.
any kind of. I mean, you're not going to get artificial intelligent device for less than $200 anyway. But
That's
I've had
good.
people, because the responses on the Epic Box have been so phenomenal. I've had people accuse me of putting artificial intelligence in there, and I'm like, dude, you're not going to get an onboard artificial intelligence for less than like $6,000. Okay,
Right.
so you're not going to get it for $200.
And you're
Right.
not going to get it for something this little,
That's right. That's small.
Right.
Like
that's
even
what
your phone doesn't have built-in artificial intelligence. It needs
No.
the internet. It has to connect up
Right.
to the internet, the server, and come back down. So yeah, no, but I kind of take that as a compliment, because they're saying, wow, this thing is so amazing. When we do sit down with the spirit and we have a conversation with them, the answers are incredible. So this guy must have like some kind of artificial intelligence in there, but I mean, I don't. There's only one chip and a bunch of resistors and what have you in there. So
So
Hmm.
that's I appreciate you sharing that, because
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I am skeptical of
Yeah, it should be.
most
Of a lot
devices.
of equipment.
Yeah.
And I like the way you said the internet of all things.
Yeah, 'cause
There is
a lot of them. Oh, they use the internet.
A lot of
it'll
them require
triangulate,
internet
and then
to
it'll
work.
do a Google search, and it'll know where you're at, and then all the buzzwords will start popping up.
like ghost radar.
Yeah,
Right.
Do you know how many times? I mean, so we used to be the tour guides at the Sally House.
Okay.
Okay, so needless to say, we've seen a lot of apps.
now, we've seen what
Lots.
works and what doesn't.
And I would have people bring in their ghost radar.
Mhm.
And I would have to tell them, go look at where it says for entertainment purposes only first.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, and then look at where you're at and see.
Yeah, yes. How much did you pay for it? Well, this is free. Okay, well,
You get what you pay for.
that's true.
But I mean, I had to
Yeah.
tell them that you've got location devices on your phone. Even if you
Right.
turn the location devices off,
Yeah, it would start.
it still picks it up.
and Sally and Doctor and
Random stuff that's on the internet. And I told
Yeah.
them, I said, search for the words and see how often that comes up in just this area. Just,
Mhm.
I got a lot of people to take that off their phones.
Yeah. Good.
Overall.
Good. Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
just
there's a little device right now. It's square, and it's from China. It's a AI, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things module. It's a development kit, so you can make whatever you want out of it. And people are making obelisk clones out of it. And yeah, it's got built-in speech recognition. It's got on my blog, on my website, I wrote a whole blog about it. And yeah, it's terrible. It has no built-in sensors. Inside the device itself, there are no sensors. So I don't know what sensors they claim that it's using for the spirits to manipulate in order to spit out those words.
right.
But I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's artificial intelligence, Internet of Things. It connects to the internet. It looks at your GPS location,
Right.
and it's programmed with words, and it spits them out. And it should be
Right.
marked for entertainment only, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, it should.
Which my opinion, the Ovilus, that's what it should say.
Yeah.
That
Well, I
thing
think the
is
Ovilus
worthless.
does along the bottom for
Yeah.
entertainment only. Yeah.
Right. And the obelisk
But
has a
how many of
microphone
these
built
ghost
into
hunting
it.
shows use them exclusively? I mean, that's like their main piece of equipment. And I just
Well, Ghost
to her,
makes
it's
it
the
useful.
flashlight trick is that turns her off. She says, "I'm done with it." When they whip that
It's a trick
Ovilus
is
out,
all it
I'm
is.
done with it.
Yeah.
It's just it's the same thing. I've got an electronics degree. I was also a mechanic, and a business degree
Okay.
too. So we got similar backgrounds.
Okay.
So I know how a lot of this stuff works, and so does she.
Good.
I
Yeah.
I do automation.
Okay.
So needless to say, I know what most of what I'm talking about, but
Night, Nigel.
I talk in people terms as opposed to technical terms.
Yeah.
Sure.
I always have. But it just makes you laugh when you tell people, hey, everything I do is data driven. And they go, but you believe in ghosts? I said, it's data driven. It's the data that I'm getting back from what I see and what I feel and what I hear.
Right.
It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to believe me that I'm talking to a spirit, but I know what I'm seeing and hearing. I don't have to prove it to anybody.
Right.
But your items make it to where people can believe that somebody is actually talking to spirits, especially when it correlates to what that person is saying. There are no microphones built into your equipment, correct?
No.
So it can't tell what I'm saying.
No. It's yeah. I mean, if it's what we would call a dumb device, right? Because it takes, other than the 6 inputs, the environmental inputs, those are the only inputs that it takes. Yeah. So, you were talking about the Ovilus and them using it on TV shows. And I don't know if you've noticed, but on Ghost Adventures now, they don't use the Ovilus anymore. They use the
Paranormal Puck.
Yeah.
Paranormal Puck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because, and the reason for that is Bill Chappell is retired, and he sold the rights for the Ovilus to Ghost Stop, and he no longer pays Ghost Adventures because that was a product placement on the show. He no longer pays them to use it, so they don't use it anymore. And now the Paranologies guy, it pays them to use his I forget what it is. It's some kind of spirit box, a round spirit box. So they're using that in every episode now. So that's one thing people need to watch out for is a lot of those shows, you know, they think that they use that equipment because it's top notch, right? It's the best.
Right.
No, it's product placement. You know, Bill Chappell was a businessman before he ever got into ghost hunting stuff. So he already had money and he knew how to run a business, and he got all of his devices on Ghost Adventures. And that was a wise thing to do from a business perspective, right? But now that he's retired, you know, he's not paying that fee anymore. And so Ghost Adventures no longer use the Ovilus.
Well, a friend of ours that I know really well used to be the tech guy for GA. And he recently quit. That's why the new guy's on TV all the time that they got. He signed an NDA that doesn't release him from being able to talk about the stuff why he left.
Sure. Right.
I think they showed us the whole time he was there. I think they showed his face once, and it was real fast.
It was in New Mexico.
Yeah, it was real fast.
Yeah,
but this other guy, you think he's part of the group?
Yeah,
he's on there all the time.
It was at the Ranchero Motel, the hotel that we stayed at. So, but yeah, he's a really good guy. And we got a question here from a comment from Jonathan. He says, I think of it as a spirit more than a ghost. That's fair.
Honestly, I kind of use the two words interchangeably, you know, spirit or ghost.
Yeah, they're basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Just don't use wraith because that's supposed to be bad. A bad ghost. But if anybody out there has any questions for Rob, please feel free to ask them, and we will get those questions asked and answered. But I know that Gary has a question for you. He wants to know, what is your favorite piece of equipment? And I know that you've talked about it, but can go ahead and tell him what your favorite piece of equipment is.
It's going to be my Epic Box. I love this thing. I take it out wherever I go, and usually what I'll do is I'll turn it on and let it just sit there on for a half hour to an hour for the spirits to kind of get acclimated to it. And then I'll start asking questions, and you know, it's amazing because a lot of the questions I ask, I'll already know the answer to, because I kind of use that as confirmation, and I will get the correct answers come through every time. And a lot of times we'll set up either a Estes session or we'll just have a spirit box going, and you can hear the yes or hear the no come through along with the Epic Box going off, you know, answering yes or no as well. And other people have experienced that as well, and they've sent me videos. I've got a lot of videos on Estes, you know, where they'll have the box there with the person that's blindfolded, and they're saying yes or no, and the box is lighting up yes or no. I've got another one with they're just doing a spirit box session. You know, they've just got it going in the background, and they've got the box there, and they ask a question, and the spirit comes through and says yes right as the Epic Box lights up. Yes. So I love those kind of corroboration of evidence, you know, when they match up and, you know, they line up. And that's one reason that I really like it. And I trust it. You know, that's the biggest thing is, you know, when I first came out with it, I come up with a ton of stuff. I mean, I've always got these little, you know, ideas with circuit boards and well, you can't see it because of my green screen, but circuit boards in there, and I take them out with me and I test them and to see if they'll work. And sometimes they're flops. Sometimes they're pretty good. Sometimes they just need to go back to the drawing board. But this one, you know, from the very beginning, when I started taking it out, I could see the potential of it. And now that it's getting popular, people are starting to pick up on it. And I've sold out of them. I just had some for last month for February. I'm now sold out for February. I got March's coming. here pretty soon, and I'm halfway because I do pre-orders. I'm halfway sold out of those as well. So I expect those will sell out here pretty soon too. So yeah, as the word gets out with the Epic Box, folks are really, really liking it. And I like that, you know.
Yeah, Gary, we need one.
You see that,
I
Rob?
knew he would be
Yeah,
putting
I
that
need one.
in.
Okay, yeah, I said he's an equipment guy.
So how much does an Epic Box run currently?
The non-talkie is 175 and the talking version is 230 because I'm looking to see if I have one around here. I think I sold them all. That one has amplifiers built in. It's got a speaker. It's got a DAC and an ADC inside of it. It's got a lot of, I didn't realize how much more components it was going to take to make that thing talk. I thought maybe one or two more chips and that was about it. It turned out to be a lot of stuff in order to get that to audibly come out and say yes and no. So yeah, that's what caused the price to go up a little bit. Plus, they're going to be in a different enclosure. So I had to change manufacturers. This was the old manufacturer and a silicone boot goes around it, right? Well, I was having problems with them. They weren't able to fulfill the orders on time. So I've got a new enclosure. It's going to look more like this one. It still has the boot on it. And this one is American made. It's actually made in Washington State. So
Awesome.
the other one was made in Japan. And that had a lot to do with the problems as far as shipping it and, all of that.
Supply chain issues. Delay. Everybody understands that now.
Yeah.
Have you thought about a 3D printer to make your own?
I started off with 3D printers and I hated them. I couldn't keep up. I don't like the quality of a 3D print because they're very brittle. You drop it once and you're pretty much done. They're going to shatter. And the scalability, I would have to have 20 of them in order to keep up. Right. And then that cost, that sink, I mean, I can get these enclosures for like around $20, $25 a piece. Right.
Well, the other part that people aren't thinking about on that part is the power.
Yeah.
Also
the maintenance items, the wear, the heating plates, right? The filament, the nozzles that you go through a crap ton of nozzles they plug up and what have you.
The price would double.
Yeah.
If he did that.
Yeah. Like I said, I had to bring it up because that's one of the things that people would be asking. The other question is are these battery or rechargeable?
They're battery right now, but they're going rechargeable. So, and I know one of the big issues with rechargeables is if a spirit drains it, what do you do now, right? So I'm designing these twofold. One, you'll be able to plug it in with USB and use it while it's charging. So, if they do drain it, well, you've got that option. The other thing is the capacity of the rechargeable battery is going to be huge. A regular battery, so they take these AAAs. So a AAA battery holds around 1,500 milliamp hours. Right. So I'm going to run these at least 3,000, if not 6,000, if I can get them milliamp hours. So a charge on that should last you days. So if they drain, like 3,000 milliamp hours, that's a lot of power right there. They drain that. So, that's how I'm going to combat that issue is make them really big, capacity wise, and then also have a way to plug it in if you need to run it off electricity.
Is there any chance of it ever being able to be that the 6 environmental factors could be downloaded as data to analyze?
That's a future product that I'm working on, a type of data logger. Yep. So that's one thing that I'm getting a lot of feedback on. So if people get to know me, I have a ton of surveys out there, lots and lots of surveys. I'm always asking people questions, what do you like about your equipment? What do you not like about it? What could be better? What, those kinds of things. So one thing that I've heard loud and clear is a good quality data logger. Yeah, I know the EDI Plus is out there, but the truth is EDI Plus dropped the ball by not having a date and time stamp on their data logger. So basically the data is useless. If you accidentally sort that data, you're done because you'll never get it back in order again. So this
has to
data
have
logger that
it
I'm
has to
working
have
on,
some kind of data key to keep it
that's right.
straight.
So it will have a date and time stamp, and it'll have a lot of other features. I don't want to give it away just yet, but it'll be a nice device. That's the device that I'm looking for some other investors to get involved with to help with the research and development on that one.
Well, research I can help with. That's one thing I do know quite a bit about is data. That's what I do for a living. And,
Okay.
you know, I've seen
Maybe
people go out there and mess with a database and they don't pull the main key that they need. And then they're like, what happened here? Well, what happened here is you didn't pull all the data. You left out this key piece.
Right.
You know, so, and then there's bad data. You know that there's bad data. Where, you know, how do you mark that as bad data? I mean,
Right.
there's always going to be something that's going to cause a false positive or a positive negative even.
Yeah, or a null value. What do you do with a null value?
Yeah.
How do you handle that, you know?
And like I said, a lot of people don't understand that.
The drawing.
Oh,
You know,
Oh, you have a drawing?
Yeah, so I'm going to try doing this every month where it's kind of a raffle. It's hosted by raffleall.com, so it's legit because I get a lot of people ask me that, is it legit? I'm like, yeah, a third party is actually running it. So they're $10 a raffle ticket, and the Epic Box with Sound will be given away on the drawing is April 1st for March. So I'm going to try and do this every month to give one away at, you know, for a $10 raffle ticket.
You could
But
end up
yeah, you
making
can
some
sign up at my
decent money off of
website.
that.
I've got the banner up there.
Yeah, just go to ghostgeartech.com and everything. This is the page you'll see where you can enter right there on the top of it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
I
that'll
guess
take
you're
you
going to
right
have a lot of
find
entries
all
tonight.
and you can find all his stuff that he on his shop.
Yep.
Okay. Come on. There it is. So there we have everything out of there right now.
Yep, that's everything. So the Epic Box in white is almost sold out. So the story behind that one is that's why I had to change suppliers and go with a new supplier that's in Washington State, because they were screwing around with me. They would not ship my complete orders. They would not ship them on time. And then this last order, they sent me white instead of black. And they didn't apologize. They did nothing except say, well, that's all that we had. And I'm like, how do you
They should have called.
Yeah. So I'm not doing business with them anymore.
Oh,
But I have found the new company here in Washington State. So it'll look different on the outside, but on the inside, it'll be the exact same, you know, circuit board and components and everything.
You got a lot of different things to look at there. Can't look at that right now. If I get started looking at it, I won't talk to you. And that's the whole point, is to talk to you.
Right.
So guys, go out and check out the website, ghostgeartech.com. And you're going to learn something new out there. I guarantee it.
Yeah, I'm sure you tested it and checked it at different locations. And there's plenty up there in Iowa. But, did you ever hit a location and maybe not get a lot of activity at first, but each time you went there, maybe the spirits got, you know, used to it, your box?
Yeah.
And then
actually, this was in Tennessee that I went to with an author friend of mine, Alan Corneliuson, and this was I'd say a virgin site. It had been closed up for 10 years. The lady passed away in it, and then it just got boarded up for 10 years. So we went in there because the owner thought there was some funny stuff going on. He was having a hard time keeping contractors working in there, and they were trying to renovate it. It was built in 1901, so it was really old, Masonic style home. So we went in there, and device wise, we didn't get a lot on the first couple of days. We did get with our EMF meters, though. We would get readings on the wooden banister of EMF, on the wooden columns, and it would move throughout the house. It wasn't like the columns weren't always, giving off EMF. They would move, and we would like have to find it. And then as I think because these spirits, no one has interacted with them before, right? We were the first ones to ever come in there and do any type of investigation. But what we did notice is they would latch onto one device and play with that thing all night long. Then the next night it would be a different device. And for, no rhyme or reason, I don't know why they picked a device over another one, but yeah, we did notice that. And then we were there for 7 days. This was a 7-day investigation. We took a whole week. And by the end of the investigation, they were at that point going back and forth between different devices to interact with us. Yeah. So I think that was a really good experience to see how, these spirits who's never had anyone come in and address them,
right,
or have any kind of tool for them to communicate. They were learning how to do that.
They got more familiar with it.
Right.
Yeah, we found that out too. There's some locations
equipment
that
work in one place.
piece of equipment will work, others it won't.
Right. Yep. We did get the Epic box to work there towards the end. Kalani Smith, I don't know if anyone's familiar with him. He's a YouTuber. He lived nearby there since it was in Tennessee. So I had him come out, and we did some stuff there, some Estes methods and a few other things with the Epic box. And what we found out is through all of that, it was pretty amazing that the lady that lived there before that passed away, her husband had passed away about 10 years before she did. And at another location, a different house. I think it was in Virginia, and then she moved to Tennessee into this house. But what we got was that she had done something, some kind of seance or something. We think it was to probably contact her husband, got something else, and did not fulfill her end of the bargain. And whatever that other thing was very upset with her. Like it told us it wanted to gut her alive. Now she's already passed away. I don't know if this thing knows that she had already passed away or not, but it said nothing good about her, and it said her name a lot.
Wow.
And it would come through on the spirit boxes. It would come through on the Epic box. It would come through on just about everything we had. That it had nothing nice to say about her. Yeah. So I don't know if she trapped something else in the house or what.
It could have been.
Yeah.
I've interviewed Alan.
Oh, you have? Okay.
He's an interesting guy.
Yep. He's a hoot. He's got some great books out there if y'all want to read his 7-year investigation into the Stagecoach Inn. It's 2 books, very good books on that. 7 years.
That was it. I guess we should write a 7-year book on the Sally House.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, all the stuff there. I mean,
especially how I got drug into it.
3 inches thick at least.
Yeah, it would be.
At least
a 1,000-page book.
I mean, you could just do a chapter on each room.
Mm-hmm.
Just something happened in every room there.
Stuff that happened at home related to it. Plus all the reasons I was there.
Oh, yeah.
I almost held a gun to his head to make him go.
No. Wow.
He got to the point he didn't want to go anymore. That's all that it was. We lived 90 miles from there, so it was.
Oh, at the end, there was no reason to go there.
But we're
right.
It was what you call boring.
Yeah, I was gonna say you probably experienced everything by then, And
no, it's a long story that we're not going to get into. But we do tell people that it's probably not
it's not worth going.
It's not a good use of your time anymore. Is all I'm saying. I don't think it's a good use of your money either, but that's I can't tell people how to spend their money, but I will tell them.
I'd say Rex could probably fill you in.
So
do you
also know do you also know Matt Bennett?
That name rings a bell. I think I probably spoken with him online. I don't think I met him in person.
Probably. Yeah.
He lives in Des Moines.
Okay.
I know that just because he lives in Des Moines doesn't mean you know him. Des Moines is not a small town. Although it does feel like it when people are jumping in your business. So I know all about that too. So hello, John.
how often do you get to go out on investigations?
Not as often as I used to. So when I was young, so I grew up in Michigan. I moved around a lot. The house that I grew up in was haunted. The activity picked up after we had the second story added onto the house. So that's what kind of started my curiosity. And then when I moved away from that house, I was 26. I moved to Tennessee to finish up college. No activity in Tennessee at all. But I did run into some kids in college that also had an interest in it. So we started doing residential cases. So I've been, investigating for a little over 20 years now, but most of them were residential. Back then we didn't have haunted locations that you could pay to go to, that just didn't exist. So, we did a lot of residential, but now I only go to the locations if like I get an invite. I just won't pay to go because I think it's kind of like what you're getting at with the Sally House. I've seen it, been there. Once a place is haunted, known to be haunted, what else am I going to do about it, right? If I'm just going to experience it, then that's one thing, right? So, but I like the residentials because you can go in and help people that way. But I do go to some of the locations when I get invited, and I love to go and people watch. I probably do more people watching than I do ghost hunting. So.
Do you have an opinion on the Edinburgh?
I've only been there once. I didn't have anything happen while I was there. I took my oldest son with me because he's seated on TV and he's like, "What's this like?" And I'm like, "Well, come on out here with me." So I got invited and brought him out there with me, and he did see some fog form and float across one of the inside one of the rooms.
Yeah.
And he came out, he was like, "Dad, you won't believe what I just saw." And he doesn't know anything about really ghost hunting. He doesn't know what the common things are or anything like that. He just knows what he sees on TV. So what he explained to me, I was like, wow, that's pretty good for your first time out, man.
It is.
But that's the only
pretty cool
thing that happened while we were there.
Yeah.
How about we have a family connection to the Villisca Axe murder house.
Okay.
The sheriff in the investigation was his great uncle.
Oh.
So the question I have for you is, have you ever been there? And did
not.
you have any experiences?
No, I haven't been to the Axe murder house yet. No. I've heard it's a good place to go though, especially like up in the attic area.
Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely.
The only thing is make sure you have cash. She only takes cash.
Oh, okay.
And tours start up on April 1st, I believe.
I don't go during the day.
So,
you got to book it for a night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you only have 10, 15 minutes to be in there for your $10 now. So if you get invited, I say go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Definitely go.
Go.
Okay.
Have you been to Malvern Manor?
I have been to
Malvern Manor.
Yep. So funny story. The first time I ever went to Malvern Manor, I took my wife with me. She's not into ghost hunting whatsoever. Doesn't even like the TV shows, but I talked her into going. And we went and we were there. Once the investigation started, we were there probably 15 minutes and she was ready to go. She was already down by the door. She was ready to go. And so we left. And the whole way home, we're listening to church music, right? So she's like, she doesn't want anything to do with it. Now, the second time I went, I had some really cool stuff. I had the piccolo with me, and they loved playing with that piccolo because that thing would go off like crazy, especially down at the end of that hallway on the second story.
Shadow Man hallway?
Yeah. Yep. It would go off like crazy down there.
Yep.
We had two epic box going. We had one upstairs and one downstairs. People were having, I was doing something else, so I wasn't with them while they were using it, but I heard they had fantastic interactions with it. And then I thought I saw a shadow peek around the corner upstairs.
You probably did.
It was about child height. It looked like a little head just peeked around the corner.
Yep.
And that kind of freaked me out a little bit because I wasn't expecting that. I was setting up equipment. I wasn't hunting, or anything. I was just kind of doing my thing. And I looked around and I just saw this little head peek out around the corner. But yeah, that was interesting.
Yeah, we've been there 4 times, and every time we went, active as all get out.
Oh yeah,
especially twice
third. I think it was the 3rd time we went. I was the only one upstairs. Everybody else was downstairs. In one of the rooms, I heard a conversation between a man and a woman.
Oh, wow.
And when I got near the room, it stopped. But at the time, I was looking for Carl and this woman named Stephanie. They were actually outside the whole time.
Oh,
Mhm.
okay.
But that's who I was looking for. That's why I was upstairs. Everybody else was downstairs. But when I went up there, I heard a man and a woman kind of talking. And it sounded like they were arguing a little bit. I wasn't really paying attention to really what they were saying. But the closer I got to the door, I figured out that it didn't sound like Carl or Stephanie. And then I walked up to the door, nothing.
Huh.
And then I walked all the way down the hallway thinking, well, am I hearing something? And then on the way back, I heard it again. Same room.
Well, it wouldn't happen to be the room that they keep the door locked, is it? Was it?
No,
No, it wasn't the one around the steps.
Yeah, you come up the steps and you go around
Into the hall.
It's the very first room. Yeah, for the hallway.
Okay.
Right in front of the hallway.
Right.
Yeah, it's the only room in there where you can look out the front and the side at the same time.
Yeah,
Okay.
Right.
it's right on the corner.
Okay.
Right above the front door.
And we got a lot of evidence down there by the rape rooms.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
And that's there's only 2 places that our friend has gotten anything ever to happen with the EDI meter. And it was there in one of the rape rooms. I was there. And at the Sally house. And I was there. It's the only time it works.
No, yeah, the only time that's ever worked for him.
Yeah. That's what he said.
He's like, I'm planning on not taking it anywhere. So, but he will have that, Carl, when we go to Ashmore.
Ashmore. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we'll see
good.
it go off again.
Yeah.
So,
Let's get one of these boxes before we go.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
We're
we
gonna
got
have
a lot
to.
of stuff coming up.
Have you
So we
ever?
could really, have you used it in graveyards?
I have used the piccolo in a graveyard. Yeah, and that was there in Tennessee. We went to a graveyard, a Civil War graveyard while we were
Yeah.
there, and I set it up on a headstone out in the middle of nowhere. I mean, there was no electricity or anything around at all.
Yep.
And it started playing music, and so it kept going off. So I kept turning the sensitivity on it, making it less sensitive by turning it up, and it just kept going off. So whatever it was would get stronger in order to trigger it. And it kept playing that music. So, I moved it to another tombstone or then nothing. It was just that one that I could get it to play.
Is it possible? Okay, this is me being data driven.
Mhm.
Is it possible that the type of stone that it was just has magnetic properties to it that makes it go off?
That's a possibility. The probability is pretty low, but the biggest thing is a permanent magnet, which is kind of what you're describing, would not set that off. It would need to have alternating current, like magnet, like an electromagnetic.
Yeah.
So a permanent magnet, which is like on your refrigerator or occurs in nature, won't set off an EMF detector. Unless you move it, right? So that's what an EMF pump is when they spin a permanent magnet.
Right.
Right. And
So that means you guys, if you spin me around in circles, my magnets will get going and I'll
Yep.
be full of
That's right.
EMF.
Yeah.
that's what I used to test it. I took one of these fidget spinners and I
Yeah.
glued little magnets on it. So when I spin it, it generates EMF. And that's how I test my stuff.
Oh,
Well,
that's a good
I-
idea.
That is a good idea. It worked.
I have a little bracelet.
Easy way to do it.
Yeah.
I have a little bracelet on my esophagus.
Oh,
It's got 13 little magnets and titanium.
oh yeah. Okay.
And so I keep teasing everybody that all they got to do is spin me around in circles and we'll have, EMF.
Right.
Do I know that? No, I don't. We've never gotten that far.
We'll get a lazy Susan and set you on it and sit there and spin you around.
I don't think Susan would take kindly to you calling her lazy.
Probably not. She wouldn't.
So we've had a lot of experiences at Malvern, so it doesn't surprise me that you had some stuff, because we've been there 4 times. 2 times I was scratched. 1 time I got cuddled by something that only had 1 leg, or maybe was only letting me feel 1 leg. I don't know.
It wasn't me.
Yeah, he wasn't there.
You had a drill bit thrown at you.
Yeah, I've had stuff thrown at me there. And
that was 5 minutes after we got there.
That was
first
5
time.
minutes into it.
I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a long night.
See, when you said your wife only wanted to stay 15 minutes, I was thinking, oh my God,
that's a long time.
Experience like me, where she got, proven to that spirits exist,
we were there, and one of the mediums, I didn't see it. I was upstairs. It happened downstairs where she was at. He claimed he had got hit in the face and injured that way. And I guess she witnessed that, and that was like enough for her. So she was like, let's go.
Okay, so where is your favorite place to investigate? You said you like to do residentials, but we can't all get into a residential location.
We've done a lot of those.
Man, I would have to go back to that place in Tennessee that I was talking about earlier, because even though we were there for 7 days, I still feel like we didn't even scratch the surface of that place.
Right.
Is that place now open to the public?
It is not. It is under renovations. And that was the reason they had us come out. It's a family member of mine, because they were having a hard time keeping some of the handymen, the hired hands out there to work on it. They've since we've been out there, it's been a little better. But yes, one of the stories that the what would you call it? Like the property, not the property manager, but the manager that's overseeing all the other handymen, right? He gets there first, then he goes to unlock the door. As soon as he opens the door, he hears somebody in boots take off running through the house. So he goes in chase, right?
Yep.
And he makes it to the other end of the house, and there's nobody there. Now, all the other doors are nailed shut in that house. The only one that you can get into with a key or anything is through that front door, right? That's where they bring in all their equipment. It's a nice big, door. All the other ones are nailed shut. So the windows were all intact, and he has no idea. There was nobody else in the house. He checked upstairs, he checked everywhere. So that's the kind of stories that they tell all the time. They'll hear, talking, whispering, things will get moved on them. Their equipment will get turned off while they're using it. That sort of stuff. So when I was there, I did a solo investigation. I was sitting on the top of the stairs. There's a room to my left. I think it was one of the kids' rooms. The master bedroom would have been in front of me, and I think that was one of the kids' rooms. Well, I heard a dog bark, and I said because I knew we were recording it, I'm like, there's a dog outside barking. I didn't want us to go back later and think it was a demonic growl or something, right? So I was like, no, it's a dog barking outside. Well, Alan was sitting outside, and he had we had a baby monitor going so he could hear me on the inside. And he was sitting outside, and he said there was no dogs barking outside. So what I heard came from inside the house, right? So we get to talking to that the handyman manager guy. Come to find out, he used to bring a dog with him on site all the time. It was his puppy, his new dog, and it got sick and passed away. It died. So I'm like, oh, was that maybe your dog that was still here barking at us? Not wanting us in here.
The place the dog had fun at.
Yeah.
I'm not going to ask you to tell us the area that it's in, because it's private. But is it in the area like where there were moonshiners in the mountains there?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Is it possible?
It's all of Tennessee.
No, it's not all of Tennessee. They're not going to be moonshining in Memphis, and but they are in Bristol. Sorry, family.
Yeah.
The reason I asked that is, is it possible that it's attached to the area, not the house?
Oh, we believe so. Yeah. So we did a lot of research, and that area, there were a lot of Civil War skirmishes that took place.
Mm.
The house itself sits on top of a cave system that we know there's two rivers in that cave underneath the house that run and cross each other. There have been historical, so we had a historian go through and find some stuff. Man, did she find some stuff? All kinds of spiritual, demonic demons being spotted. And this made it into the newspaper in the early 1900s, like down at the old whoever house, the demon was seen again with smoke blowing out of its nose and all this other stuff. So that whole area, there have been slothman sightings in that area because of the caves. The cave system is so big, we found there was a lady that fell into it in the 1950s. And when she finally came out, she's lucky that she came out, she was 2 counties away.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that's a big cave system.
Yeah, that is.
Does it attach up to like up near Mammoth Cave in Kentucky?
No, it is. It's. I can tell you where it's at. It's actually over in Morristown, Tennessee.
Oh, okay.
So it's on Knoxville to the
east
of Knoxville, northeast.
Yeah,
right.
That's in the area that we frequent.
Okay.
So, the reason I asked that was because there's a similar story in Mammoth Cave up there in Kentucky.
Okay.
And so, not only that, there's another one that's very similar to that in Louisville, Kentucky. But there's also Bigfoot sightings at the one in Louisville. So, and thank you, David, for listening, doing your goodwill listening for us. He's a goodwill. So we appreciate you out there, David.
Right.
And we can't wait to see you in October. So at least I hope you're still coming. So
we may have some new equipment, David. Fully tested.
So yeah, because we're
we got lots of stuff coming up.
So do you have any events coming up that you're going to be at?
I will be at Pennhurst in May. Then I think in April I've got one. I got to look. That's coming up pretty quick. And then I've got one in October that will be at the Rock Island Haunted YMCA. This will be the second year for that one. And then I'm in talks with another one around the 21st of October, another Paracon that I'll be attending.
Yeah, we've been invited to the Rockhurst YMCA a couple times.
Okay.
Yeah, we've not been there yet.
No, we didn't get to go before we moved. So now it's a jaunt.
Now that's quite a drive. Yeah.
It was still quite a drive from Kansas City, but done it. We'd have done it.
Right.
It was really good. Dave Schrader showed up. And then Paraflix was there as well. So
yeah, in July I got the Paracon down there in Paragould, Arkansas to go to.
Okay.
So Keith Age is going to be down there at that one.
He talked him into getting us up there.
So whereabouts in Arkansas is that?
Paragould.
It's
down by Jonesboro.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
You know where Steele, Missouri is?
Yeah.
It's
I lived in Arkansas for a little while.
Northeast
It's
Arkansas.
a paranormal horror show convention by Santiago Sorello.
Oh, okay.
And everything. The actor from The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
We
died
did
on
it
the
last
show.
year, the first year, and we had over 100 vendors and did real good down there. This year is bigger and better. They got 3 days of investigation at Scared City's haunted house down there in Jonesboro, and then 3 days of the Paracon. And it's all against anti-bullying and suicide awareness.
Oh.
So, how many people would you say went through there over the weekend, Carl?
Last year?
Yeah, last year.
I would probably say somewhere around 2,500 to 3,000. This year should be a lot more since they know we're going to be down there and there's more advertising. And the mayor even made it the paranormal month of July in Paragould, Arkansas for this convention. He signed it in. So it's a real good deal down there.
Very cool. But yeah, that's about all that I have. I wanted to do more Paracons this year, but it's, you got to get, as far as a vendor goes, you got to get way in advance on the list, years in advance.
Not only that, you got to stockpile equipment.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll have to stockpile equipment. There's spaces open at Paragould if you're interested.
Okay.
Look up scaredcityproductions.com.
Okay.
And everything, and it'll show you the Scared City Part 2. And vendors, it's $100 for 3 days.
Oh, it's not bad.
No, that's a real good deal.
Yeah, for 3 days
in there and stuff. So
yeah,
and there's hotels aren't expensive there.
And I can tell you, last year there wasn't anybody there selling any paranormal equipment.
Oh, really?
So this year it might be even better because they're going to have 3 investigations going down there.
That'll help.
Yeah. Going to need some tools to investigate. That's for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we don't mean the kind like David. We don't need a tool like David. Sorry.
Oh.
If you'd have seen his shirt, he was
I seen it.
You saw what I put? He was
I seen it.
Rick Rose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the good news is that we are paranormal investigators with a sense of humor.
That's good. Yeah. Good to have a sense of humor. That's for sure.
It does, because you know what? Sometimes the spirits do too.
Yeah. Oh,
and sometimes they really get sarcasm.
Yeah, that they are very sarcastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one really funny one at the Oddfellows, the Belvoir Winery in Liberty, Missouri.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
We asked the spirit. This is one of our first public investigations that we had went to. We asked if she wanted to talk, and she said no.
Nothing.
And then after that, nothing. I was like, well, I guess she was serious. She didn't want nothing to do with us.
And if you're ever down here towards Kansas City, get a hold of me, and we'll take you to our haunted cemetery.
Okay.
And stuff. And out there, there's no electricity. There's nothing around it. It's out in the boonies on top of a hill.
No road noise.
No.
Oh, that'd be good for EVPs then.
And it's in an area you can go 3 miles to the east is where the Hans Mill massacre was at, where they massacred Mormons.
Oh, wow.
In the 1800s.
Wow.
So
did they bury those folks somewhere near where, what was it, a church they got?
No, it was a mill, and what it was to give you the storyline, in 1836, the state of Missouri was created. Okay. The governor at that time, because the Mormons were in Independence and Kansas City area down there causing problems. So they gave them Caldwell County. Said, it's yours. Just don't bother the people that's up there and everything. Okay. And stuff. And within 2 years, the governor had to issue an order to eradicate all Mormons out of Caldwell County.
Oh, wow.
If you look up the history of it and everything in Caldwell County, Missouri, the Mormons, it was a big war. There was like 50-some thousand Mormons in the county, far west and everything. And Hans Mill was down by Show Creek, was a mill site. And what it was the Mormons stole a gold cannon from the Chillicothe militia, which is like 20 miles away. And after these guys in the militia didn't know that the governor issued that order, rode in and massacred everybody living there, men, women, and children.
Wow.
stuff. And then the Mormons came back and threw all their bodies in the well so that people around wouldn't do nothing to them. We don't know if they ever got them out of the well and buried them, or they're still in the well down there.
Or if they just filled in the well and made it a mass grave site.
Yeah.
We go out there and investigate that area too.
Do you know where the wells are, or do they?
They're obvious.
Oh, are they?
Yeah, you got to kind of, we found what we think where the location is with dowsing rods in it. And we had a guest on one of our shows here, Russell, that did the same thing at a different time and went to the same area where he thought the wells were at. And it was the same area we did with the dowsing rods.
Okay.
I know that when we were there, I thought for sure that had to be where the well was. And I don't think we had dowsing rods that one day.
No, we didn't.
No, but we get
we
a
couldn't
lot
go in there because it was all filled with water.
Yeah.
Right.
Because of flooding.
Now they got it fenced on. You can't drive in there, but you can walk in there.
Right.
And stuff. You can park outside. There's a big stone there that tells you the history of it and when it happened. And, but if the well's there, it's probably under 4 to 5 feet of soil because Show Creek is flooded all the time.
Okay.
So, but it's interesting.
You probably didn't even know.
3 miles from our cemetery.
You probably didn't even know that, did you?
No, I did not. That's
the Mormon hunting season in Missouri.
Oh, you look up the Mormon history to give you an idea.
I know when he told me, I thought he was kidding. I was like, what?
Okay, when they eradicated all Mormons out of the state and out of the county, right?
Yeah.
That law stayed in effect until 1972. And the reason it got recognized and changed was Brigham Young University was going to play MU in Columbia.
Mm-hmm.
According to that law, if their bus came through, we legally could have shot them. So they had a big controversy, and the governor at the time, Kip Bond, rescinded the order.
Wow.
But it stayed on the books from 1838 to 1972.
And what's strange about this is that some of these people that left Caldwell County went to St. Joe, Missouri, and some went over to Atchison, Kansas.
Yep.
And I found some of the graves of the people who used to live there that had died in Atchison.
Oh, yeah. We had Joseph Smith and all of them in Caldwell County, all the way down to Independence and everything during that time frame.
Like a real life purge.
Yeah. Oh, it was. I mean, look it up on the internet. It's history. Like
I didn't know till Carl told us. I had no idea.
And then I researched
grew up in Missouri.
Yeah. There's not going to
other
teach
side.
I'm not going to teach you that in a book at school.
I live in Davies County now, and up here in Gallatin, they had a Mormon shootout on the street up here in the same time frame and everything. Because the Mormons would come, to give you an idea why they got ran out of town, was at that time frame, they would walk up to a farmer and say, that hog and that cow is mine. God said they're mine. Or they'd come up and say, that farm is mine. God gave it to me. And force them off or kill them. This is why they got ran out of the county and the state.
Wow. All right, I have an alarm going off. I need to go turn that off. I bet y'all can hear it.
I heard something.
Right back.
Something. Okay. We
thought it was our microwave.
Yeah.
So
somebody's here.
Oh,
but
yeah,
this has been a great show so far.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh.
And stuff. Everybody else out there. Yeah, God help them. Mormon Warsaw, Missouri. Yep.
Mormon Wars, I think is what he meant to put.
Yeah.
So, as you can see, we have our familiar here.
Yep. I saw him back there kind of lounging around.
There's
another one back on the bed.
Oh, yeah.
There's 2 more back there.
This is the paranormal cat.
Yeah.
Oh.
She's up
Usually
on all paranormal shows.
option.
And she's also the Benjamin Buttons of cats. She is looking younger than every day.
Really?
She's almost 16 years old, and she's
wow.
in better shape than she was when she was 10. So
It's good. What's the secret? Cat food?
eating canned chicken for 5 years. She wouldn't eat cat food, so she was eating people food.
Oh, okay.
And now she's back to cat food. So
Yeah.
she's going to be the one that we're going to be going, why isn't this cat dead yet? So
Good deal.
She looks kind of happy now. She usually looks mad.
Oh, so hey, Crystal. So if you guys have any questions at all for Rob, please ask your questions because we don't have that much longer left, and I don't want your questions not to get asked and answered. But
Right.
We've had a really good time talking to you. Especially, I don't really want the show to end anytime soon. But we know the facts are we all have to eat dinner
Right.
at some point. So, well, I hope we get to meet up with you somewhere.
Yeah.
Because
So, you guys
a
ever
lot of
make
the
it
stuff
back
that you've
to,
shared.
like, Iowa area?
Well, we'll let you know when we get up that way.
Yeah.
Or you never know. You might
There's-
catch us in Tennessee.
Lots of
Oh,
stuff
yeah.
up there.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Iowa's very active.
They
Yeah, we got
call
a
it
lot of spots here.
well,
Oh, yeah.
well, you're in the haunted corridor. Whoever coined that phrase coined it correctly.
Yep.
So
Tom wants
when will
to
your
know.
inventory be back in stock?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
great question. So I'm working with some new suppliers and we're getting some things. So I don't know if you heard, but I moved over to this supplier who's in Washington State here in the US. So I've got to get all the circuit boards reworked to fit inside of those new enclosures. So that's what we're going through right now. As soon as that's done and I've tested them and I know that they work, then I'll order, bulk order of like 50 to 100 circuit boards. And then those will take probably about 6 weeks. And then, so yeah, I'm probably about 6 to 8 weeks out before I have anything else. It stinks, I know, but that supplier that kind of did me wrong kind of left me hanging.
Right.
So now I've got to switch everything over to this new supplier, and that takes time. I don't want to do it and then order 100 pieces
Right.
to find out they don't work. So I've got to
Yeah.
order like 5, make sure they work, and then order the bulk order.
Yep, that's that R&D we talked about earlier. You got to
Yeah.
make
Oh, yeah.
sure
Yeah. That's
it's a necessary cost.
Yes.
So, is there any piece of equipment that you're working on that you can tell us about that's not proprietary?
Yeah, I'm working on one for audio equipment to slow down the audio, but not change the pitch. So where this comes in handy is when you're doing like a spirit box session and it's going through really fast, you can slow it down, right? There'll be a knob that you can turn and slow it down, like a volume knob, but only for speed. And that will slow down the audio, but not change the pitch. So because the belief is that people are able to hear full-blown sentences in short periods of time when they get it home and they slow it down in like Audacity or some other program.
right.
So
Mhm.
the thought is, what if you could do that live, right?
Right.
So that's what I'm working on right now. So when you're live at a site, you don't have to go back and do it tomorrow. You can do it right now by slowing it down and
So-
listening to it.
So similar to live EVPs, but not necessarily EVPs.
Right. It would just be like a spirit box session, kind of, but you'd be
Right.
slowing
You'd
it down.
slow it down so the human ear could hear it live right there.
Right.
So
Yeah.
would it slow
That's a good
down live
idea.
speech?
If you fed it live speech, yeah, it would slow that down. If you put a
Okay.
microphone connected. So my idea is it would just be a box with an input and an output, right? The output would go to a speaker and the input would be either a microphone or a spirit box or whatever you want the input to be.
Oh, wow.
Could it be a recorder?
It could be a recorder. Yeah. Take the output of a recorder and plug it into the
Right.
input of this.
Any of that like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
any
because
box.
I always like the idea of the live EVP sessions where the recorder basically you could hear it would only pick up if something was said,
Right.
or that makes sense because I'm one of those people that no matter how hard I try, I can hear it, but I don't get an EVP.
Well, it was to give you an idea, we could plug it into our phones with our Echo Box and slow that down on the response coming back through it, correct?
That's
Yep.
if you have a phone that has an
I
auxiliary.
I do.
I know
got
my
it.
old one does,
Yeah.
but the new
My
ones
new
don't
one
come with
don't,
that.
but my old ones, I got several phones.
You can get a splitter for a lot of the new phones that will have an aux jack that come off of the whatever you have, a C
This-
or a
Yeah,
Mhm.
whatever Apple calls theirs.
yeah, I hadn't seen that yet, but I haven't looked.
Yeah,
I mean,
they
I got to
do
be
have 'em.
honest. I haven't looked at anything recently. Still trying to find all the shit from when we moved. So, and I'm not looking for it very hard. So just keep that in
It took a
mind.
while.
Right.
So,
But that's a
but
good idea. That would come in handy in a lot of instances.
Yeah, I think so.
do
But yeah, that's one of a few of the ideas that I've got kicking around.
do you take ideas from other people? Like somebody comes to you and says, "Hey, I've got this idea. Can you take that idea and expound upon it?"
I could. I usually don't for the legal reasons, because even if I were to, if they told me and then years later I forget about it and then I come up with an idea, it gets into this big legal who owns the
Right.
intellectual
Yeah.
property and all of that. And I have once before I tried to do a partnership with somebody and have them sign paperwork saying we're entering a partnership and this is our idea, but they wouldn't sign it. So I wouldn't consider going forward with it then, because then
But
that's opening up for lawsuits and all kinds of stuff.
that's an integrity thing. So
Yeah.
that's highly commendable. If I give anybody an idea, take it. Just give me credit for it. Just say, "Hey, that came
Right.
from Denise's mouth." That's,
Yep.
that's all I want.
That's it.
Because I mean, there's been times that I've come up with stuff that I didn't know might exist. And when I talked to somebody about it, found out that they were already working on something like that before I opened my mouth.
Oh, okay.
And I knew, so that's sometimes I come up with stuff and then find out that it is being worked on, but maybe not to the extent in which I saw it working, and it helped them to make it better, because it was one thing that they were missing was the extra piece that I added
Right.
in. And it's like, I don't need anything from it. I just want to see it work. That's all. I just want to see it work. So, are there any phone
I was
apps?
getting ready to ask, have you tried out any of the apps that
On the
are out
phone?
there?
No, I don't use any phone apps, because I know that the phones don't have any sensors in them. So what are they sensing, right? So if there's no sensors inside the phone, I know that Apple blocks any way to detect electromagnetic fields, EMF. Apple actively blocks that. So if you have an iPhone and you've got some kind of EMF meter app, it's baloney because Apple blocks that.
Right.
So yeah, no, I don't trust any of them, because
Well-
it's too mainly not because I believe they are doing something nefarious, but they could do something nefarious, right? They could program in, like we talked about earlier, location, GPS, a lot of the AI type stuff,
Mhm.
to edge out the competition, right? Because you want to sell more apps than the next guy, so you want your app to be the one that tells them there's a demon behind the door. So you kind of maybe you program that in there to do that when they're at a certain location. So that's why I stay away from anything that can connect to the internet.
Yeah, we do too.
That's one thing I don't like. And a lot of people don't realize that your cell phone puts off RF, which
Yeah,
can
right.
mess up other things.
Yeah. I preach on that jamming a lot. So I, when I told you I people watch when I do go to these public events, and it's funny. I see this. It happens every single time. Everyone shows up. They find a coffee table, and they all dump all their stuff on the coffee table. And first of all, it looks like a yard sale because I'm like, how much for the REM pod, right? But then they turn it all on, and I'm like, all that stuff's interfering with one another. You're getting
Yeah.
jamming, right? So when you're ghost hunting, you're looking for a whisper of some kind of evidence. You don't need jamming to be taking place while you're trying to do that. Don't have a mel meter sitting next to a REM pod. They're going to screw each other up. Same thing with the EMF meter. Don't have a EMF meter next to your REM pod or your mel meter. The fact that the mel meter has a EMF built into it and it is a REM pod, I find perplexing. One generates EMF, the other one detects EMF, and they're both
so it's detecting itself.
Yeah,
they're just jamming. I mean, so no, you want to get your devices at least 6 feet apart. You want to use different device. So especially when it comes to like motion sensors, everyone thinks the motion sensors, they're the same. They're not. You've got PIR, passive infrared. You've got ultrasonic motion sensing, and then you've got microwave or radar sensing, right? You can't put 2 microwave radar sensors in the same room together, just like you can't put 2 ultrasonics in the same room together. So that's why you need to understand what type of motion sensor you have, so that when you stick them in a room together, you're not putting 2 of the same kind together, because you're going to get false positives. Now you can mix them. That's fine. You can put an ultrasonic with a PIR or ultrasonic and a microwave. That's fine. But you just can't put 2 of the same in the room, because they'll either give you false positives or they'll jam each other.
Yep.
Sounds like the chicken and the egg in the REM pod.
Yeah. Right.
And I've used one, but I never understood that. Same as you're getting an EM pump and you're getting a REM pod, or not a REM pod, but an EM meter. Aren't you just detecting what you're putting out?
That's the other thing I find funny is I would go on these public ones, right? And they're like, okay, everybody turn off your phones. Put them on, airplane mode, turn them off. And then they go over and turn on an EM pump. And I'm like, what are you doing?
But the thing is, your phone is RF. And the RF meter is going to make it go off, And most people don't use an RF meter.
No.
Even though we have one.
It's a
they don't usually use one.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I shake my head a lot. I do the people watching thing too. Or I run off by myself to get away from people.
I try, but they follow me. They're like, where's the gadget guy? Where's the guy with all the gadgets?
They follow him.
That's me.
And they just and the thing is, it's always women.
Oh.
Women are always following him.
It's that cologne.
Yep. Hello, Alberston.
Yeah, we don't use a lot of equipment. Actually, less is better. Actually, what we found out.
So
like one or 2 things that's about it.
Yeah.
And let's be honest.
I mean, we're not doing a TV show. We don't need to have the evidence, on video or anything. We've had things happen. That's pretty obvious, especially if she gets scratched or, I've seen the head poke around the building and did I have the video of it? No, but I know what I saw.
Right.
Hello, Allison.
Yeah.
Well, the big thing is that people, we don't want a lot of crap. And it's because, first off, I'm one of those rare people in the paranormal. I have a full-time job. I don't have time to go through all this evidence to find that one little thing that somebody's going to sit there and downgrade anyway to it's a bug. It's a whisper. Oh, you must have burped, something like that. I don't need it. And if I did burp, you guys will know it. It's not going to be quiet. Right, Carl?
Exactly.
It's going to sound like a demon had Mexican food for dinner.
Well, that's just like if you're in a building or something with a bunch of people and you got a tape recorder going on. The smart thing to do is have everybody say something at one time with their name. That way, if you're going back through it, you're listening. Oh, okay, that was so and so. I heard them, and everything back and forth. Because if not, you got a group of people in there. You can't keep track of all of them while they're talking, whispering, and everything while you're trying to record.
Right.
But yeah, you do you're on the right track as far as the live, what you want to do live, because you don't. I mean, what if you're taking an EVP or something like that, and you listen to it the next week, and you got a spirit sitting there going, "What are you doing here? I'd like to talk to you." That's what you're hearing. Well,
Right.
it's too late. You want to do it now,
right?
Yeah, we had.
That's what I didn't. That's why we never really used the EVP recorders much, because it's already passed.
Yeah.
It's too late.
We've had friends that said they went to Lent Mansion and they said they didn't get anything while they were there, but 6 months later they're listening to their recorders and found that
they have a lot.
Somebody said something in there a few times, and that they missed it altogether.
Yep.
Oh,
and it's like, well, what good does that do you if
None.
if you didn't, the whole time you were there, you didn't feel a damn thing, but then you heard this. Well, guess what? This jogs your memory, and then you're sitting there having false memories of stuff that didn't happen. Because you heard it on this recording, you're gonna believe that you heard it live when it happened.
Right.
And I know it. I mean, it's a lot of the paranormal is perception.
Oh yeah.
And then intent, and we can go on and on about what it could be, but it's amazing how you feel what you feel, and you can't prove or disprove it to anybody. Allison, you're right.
Offerings. We even offered money at one location.
And Allison,
to bribe them.
I take offerings all the time. I'm always willing to take an offering. The only
full belly, yeah.
Yes, Lent Mansion does have a good Sunday brunch.
Oh, well,
it smells really good if you get to go. So
in St. Louis.
So, is there a place that you've been that you would tell everybody to go to if they could?
Man, probably the shoot, we were just talking about it and the name escapes me.
Malvern,
yeah.
That's one of our favorite places.
Yeah, that's one where, and then the Granger House. I've been to the Granger House and caught some fantastic EVPs there. We were out in the carriage house, and one of the mediums said there was a boy there, a young boy, and everyone had left, and they were either they left the property, they were gone for the night, or they were still up inside the house. So I went out to the carriage house with my recording equipment and was trying to get some EVPs, and I did ask one of the lame questions, right? How old are you? But I got a 12. I got a distinct Class A EVP 12. I also got a woman humming and a shush from the carriage house.
Yeah.
Isn't that a place that Josh and Katie work at?
I don't know. This was early on when I first moved to Iowa that I went there.
Is that the second location they bought, or is that?
No, they don't own it.
Oh yeah, they were.
Katie's the one that had the heart attack.
Yeah.
Earlier this year or late last year.
Yeah, I think she was.
She had the two babies. Yeah, she was working there. Somebody wrote a book, Ghosts of Granger House, and I think it was her.
Okay.
And her and her husband used to be tour guides at Edinburgh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow they got on the board for one of the. Is the Granger House in Benton County?
I believe so.
That's where they worked, as the Benton County Historical Society.
Okay.
And that's where she was doing tours at. I don't know if they're back to doing them, but if you guys want to go back and listen to when I talked to Katie and Josh Hopkins, you'll find out a lot more about the Granger House. So it is one of the most interesting places I'd heard them talk about.
Right.
So
It was very interesting. I saw a lot of shadow figures, shadow play on the second floor. The only bad thing about it is you can't sit on the furniture there.
Oh,
It's all, I guess it's
yeah.
furniture and they don't want you messing it up. So
I think I remember saying something about that.
the Brown Mansion in Coffeyville, Kansas is the
Same way.
You've got to bring your own something
Yeah.
to sit on. So stop by Cabela's and get yourself one of those little cane chairs.
Yep.
right.
That way you're prepared to sit down.
Yep.
So, or bring your walker that has a seat. Those would be helpful for something, right? Besides he got a walker.
That's right.
You went a few times with the Rain Warren to the Carousel Gardens. Oh, that
Oh,
sounds
wow.
Oh
interesting.
wow.
And
That's-
Tom was lucky enough to do a tour at the Joliet prison and experience many cool things.
Yeah.
That's not that far from you. About
I went
how
back to
far
that
is
one. Is that now I know of the squirrel cage, but I don't
No,
know.
no?
Juliet
This is
Prison in Juliet, Illinois.
Chicago.
Oh no.
you know the Blues Brothers where they went to jail.
Oh
Yeah, where they went to prison and got him out. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's Juliet
So-
Prison.
Seymour. Where's Seymour? I know of Seymour, Wisconsin. That's
Yeah,
right. She's in
it's
Connecticut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I have a hard time
It's up in that
remember
area.
every town, every state has a Seymour, and they always say
Right.
stuff like, "You don't come to Seymour to Seymour." So
Connecticut.
In
Yeah.
that's what I
Connecticut.
thought.
right.
So where can everybody find you? We talked about it on the show a lot.
Yep,
but tell
yep.
'em.
The website is ghostgeartech.com, and you can reach me on my email. It's just rob@ghostgeartech.com.
And check out his
on
equipment.
Facebook and Instagram. I've got a TikTok, but I don't really do a whole lot on TikTok. And I've also got a YouTube. I don't do a whole lot on the YouTube either. Maybe some product demonstrations. But it's funny. I do these product demonstrations on YouTube, right? So people can see how the product works. And then I'll get people comment fake. And I'm like, I'm doing a product demonstration. I'm not trying to show evidence that I've taught something, right? But they're
Right.
like, oh, you're a faker. And I'm like, what? And it's a motion activated music box. I took a step forward and it played music. And somebody commented that it was fake. Okay.
How can that be fake? It picked up
I
your
think
motion
They're just
and
trolls.
played.
That's all.
Yeah,
They're
there's a
trolls
lot
is
of
all they
trolls
are.
on YouTube.
We've had
Okay.
a lot of trolls on shows and stuff. So.
Yeah.
I've got to tell you something.
we know
you
that.
you said the word. You said the word. The company I work for, I'm not going to tell you the name, just got a new mascot.
Oh, okay.
He is a reformed internet troll. So think of the Noid,
Yeah, I remember the
Domino's Pizza, the
Yep.
Noid, something similar to that, but it does look like a troll.
That's funny.
So if you look it up, you'll probably find it and you'll know who I work for. But I don't usually tell people the name of the company I work for. So
I'll look it up.
That's funny.
Yeah. So
Is
they
it already out there? I
Yeah.
thought you said they were just talking about it.
they just put it out on the market
Oh.
yesterday morning.
Ah.
So it was the first thing.
Oh,
My 7:00 meeting yesterday morning was go out there and look at this, make yourself familiar with it.
They're gonna
start
make
telling
stuffed
people.
animals of it and sell
Possibly.
it. Yeah.
Except it has a mustache. It has a little mustache.
Oh,
Nice, dark, kind of similar to yours. And a flannel shirt, just like you.
Oh.
So
I'm your mascot, huh? I'm the reformed internet troll.
well, the bad news is you can't get the service that we sell in Iowa,
Oh, okay.
but you can in Missouri and Kansas
yeah.
and 18 other states. So, but I
Oh,
just
my
thought it was
Lord.
funny.
You found it.
I
Huh?
see him. Oh my God.
Yeah, if you could show it without showing the company name, that'd be great, but I wouldn't.
No,
I wouldn't show it.
can't.
Probably not.
Just let
Oh.
people go out and look for it.
He
I think
looks
that they'll
like-
enjoy Ray. He is an
He looks
interesting
like a
character.
lumberjack.
What did I say? I said mustache, plaid shirt.
Beard. Yeah. Got the little.
So yes, So
the handlebar
yes, you
mustache.
could possibly be our
Oh yeah,
internet troll.
it's right on that page, right over in the corner in big.
So
They won't let me save the picture though.
Oh,
it's new. I mean, we put a lot of money into that thing.
and you named it Ray?
Ray
What?
Ray of Sunshine.
Okay.
Well, if you know the name of the company, then you'll understand why it's Ray. Plus, it has to do with fiber.
Oh,
So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's funny. But when you said that, it just made me think of that. And it's like, so
yeah.
I could have just done a whole buttload of advertising for the company I work for. So
yeah, you could have on that.
I think you did.
I'm not showing the website, but
So-
yeah.
well, I would like to thank you so much for coming on. And I meant what I said about data. I would love to help you out with looking at data to see if it's valid and all other good stuff.
Yeah.
Because that's the part that I find is the most fascinating, because data can prove or disprove a lot of things.
Right.
And the thing is data doesn't lie.
Right. It just is,
So,
you know.
So you hear that, Carl? You got lots of spirits in your stone background there.
I'm sure I do. Usually you tell me, but Allison says it. So yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And
well,
if you
I'd
ever
like
need help on testing your products, contact me and everything. We can use.
So you should have some more
at a house.
boxes, you said, in about 5-6 weeks?
Probably closer to 6 to 8 weeks. Yeah.
Yeah, 6 to 8. Okay.
and do you suggest people pre-order?
Yeah, I would whenever I open it up, and I won't open it up until I know for sure that everything's going to work out.
That's probably why.
Yeah, because the
Gary
pre-orders
Cooney
usually
has
sell
the-
out pretty. So, for instance,
page.
all the Epic boxes with sound pre-orders, they sold out. They're before I don't even have them in stock yet, but the pre-orders are sold out.
So keep that in mind, guys. If you can't get into his website for anything other than getting in there for the raffle, could be because he's not ready to take orders at the time. So, and if you have any questions, please let him know. I guarantee he'll answer your question, because he answered me back quick as a whip. So, but I hope everybody will join me next Monday night at 7 p.m. Central for the Paranormal Pride. And I forgot who my guest is because I'm paying attention to the guest I got in front of me. So make sure you guys come and join us. And
I said, who was it? I'm trying to know.
I don't have the book out.
Oh.
And join us here next Tuesday night for Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal, at 5 p.m. Central. And I guarantee I will find us a really great guest, maybe as great as Rob.
Hey, that'll work.
Okay.
That'll work.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. I do appreciate it. It's been a blast.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Oh, thanks for
Rob.
coming on. That's
Yeah. And I want to thank everybody in the chat room on the Facebooks and X and over at Rumble on Born TV on Rumble, where we're live at tonight. We're also live on Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment page, Things Network's Facebook page, and live in Japan on Japan Paranormal over there. We always want to and always check out the Bill of Rights network that I own, that all these shows are on there. There's a list of every show we do. So everybody, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next week here on Paranormal Nation Radio. Everybody have a good evening.
Good night.